Okay, welcome to our day 4 of the 10 days boot camp for basic front end. And so today we are going to see two examples or one examples, but two different pages so that we can practicalize all the things that we have been learning all this while to wrap up our HTML and CSS so that in our next class we move into JavaScript. So I'm going to show you a sample of what we are going to design, and then we're going to take it from scratch as much as we can to finish it. And as much as time will allow us, we'll try to move into media query, where we design mobile first. If we can achieve it from this design, good and fine. And that is what I have in mind for us today. So first of all, I'm going to show the sample of what we're going to design. Now, this is a page. These are just links. The first link is say Flex because this layout was designed with Flex. Then the second link says Grid because this layout was designed with Grid. So I'm going to show you how to do the two examples, and then we can continue. I hope there's no problem. Please lower the noise that is coming from your end so that we will not spoil this video. Thank you very much. Your usual cooperation is needed. Please, please. Okay, so let's go ahead. So I am going to create a new folder. We'll start everything from scratch. Just in case you want to replicate this, I'm going to drop them in the description or in our chat. If there's any picture, anything you need, I'll drop it so that you can use it to work with it. So again, this is what we want to achieve. Flex. This is flex, this is grid, this is flex, this is grid. So we just want to achieve something simple like this. Then as we go ahead, maybe towards the end of the class, if I forget, somebody should remind me. People are going to show us about 10 different front end, just one page. They're going to give us a link to those front end. And then I will choose the one at the end of the class. We are going to, at a point in these 10 days, I will choose the one that we're going to use for demonstration. Then the rest, we will divide ourselves into groups, and each group will come on a particular day and do a defense of how they did the design and also display the design for us. Each person, no matter your distance or wherever you are, each person will explain what they have done and their part in that program. So the first thing we're going to do, let's create a folder. In our series 200, let's create a folder. This time around, I want to create a folder and call it layout. Just what we want to achieve here is how to use the different layout. Or let's call it layout.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm making Susan. What's the problem?
Okay, sir, the defense stuff, does that mean that we don't have to, like, there will be no need of coming to school for the defense? Everything will be done online?
No, you are not coming to school now. You guys are on holiday. Unless school has opened, you guys are on holiday. The way I'm teaching you here, what I mean by defense is you guys will talk about what you have done and how you did it. That's what I meant. Not you people coming to, so some of you are
Okay,
very
sir.
far away, so
Thank you, sir.
there's no point coming to school.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thompson Divine, you raise your hand too. Any question? Okay. Okay, so let's go back to what we were doing. So in this case, I am going to design, I'm going to be very fast so that we can achieve a lot from this. So the first one we are going to work with is the grid aspect. So I've created my folder. The next thing I'm going to do is inside the folder, as usual, I will type CMD. Then I will take code stop that I can open my VS Code with this, where this folder is. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create a file and call it index.html. Index.html have been created. So if index.html have been created, we go straight to creating the HTML page, starting with the elementary part of the HTML. Then the next thing, we can specify the language that we want. HTML lang equal to English. And inside it, we have head. Then we have body. Inside our head, we can include the following metadata. Add the character set to determine the character set that the browser should. UTF-8 is one of the most popular character sets. UTF-8 is one of the most popular character sets. Please, if you have a question, just raise your hand. Then meta HTTP equivalent. These are some of the things you can put to help your search engine optimization, to help make your website compatible with different browsers. And we add content. Somebody will say, is this important? Yes and no, depending on what you want to achieve. I think I made a mistake here, so I'm going to correct myself. It's supposed to be meta, not meta. Okay. So the last but not the least, I'm going to add for now is the viewports. because we'll try to do something that is responsive. We'll come back to this head. We'll come back to this head. Let's do some other stuff in the body. Let's do some other stuff in the body. Yeah, I wanted to confirm if there's anybody that is raising hand. So let's continue. Remember, this is what we're working with. So we are back here. So if we go inside the body, let's take our structure. So we are going to have header. Inside the header, we're going to have a nav. So outside the header, I want us to have a main. Then under the main, we will have a footer. Now, let me just check what we have been doing ever since. So if we go to the index and we double click on it, okay, this is what we want to achieve. This is where we are. Nothing is showing here, but this is what we want to achieve. So we'll keep on going. This is what we have done so far. This is what we have done so far. I needed to shift that thing that is blocking the screen. Okay, so let's work on it bit by bit. This is our header. We have in that one we have two links, href. One is a link to the index.html, which is this one. And then it is showing flex. So which means what we are going to implement here is flex. Then the second one is linked to the grid. We can call it grid.html. That's done. So if we go back now, we can see something on it. So we have achieved it. So it's to start making, when we do the CSS, we'll see the result of what we have done. Okay, so the next place that we need to work on is the main. In the main, we'll come down and add a div. Can use divs. Can add a div. Inside that div, we are going to have an image. This particular image that is here. Inside that div, we are going to have an image. Inside that div, we are going to have a header. Inside that div, we are going to have a paragraph. Inside that div, we are going to have a button. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 things I'm going to add to this div. I will do the same for all of them. So I'm inside the div now. I want to add an image. Inside the same div, I'm going to add inside the same div, I'm going to add I said paragraph H1, and I'm going to call that paragraph, what did you call it? Sedans, SUV, and luxury. So okay, then we have a paragraph. Let me just copy what is here. Say choose a slider if it is for your trip. I'll copy it from here and paste it here inside the paragraph tag. I hope we are following inside the paragraph tag. Then the last but not the least I'm going to add here is the button. I'm going to call the name of the button Learn More. So I'm going to do the same thing 3 times. So it's as good as just copying this, paste it 3 times. Okay. For clarity's sake, I'm going to put a comment first div or Sedans div. I'll call this one SUV div. And this one is SUV. Then I'll call this last one luxury. Call this last one luxury. SUV div. Then we have the luxury. So we have the 3 divs. Let me copy whatever is here. One is for SUV. Let me copy luxury. Okay. So we have this. Let's check what we have achieved so far. So we have slid down the button and all that. The only problem we have now is that the image is not showing. So I need to get the image. So we just get the folder containing the images. We have the favicon. We have image for Snedan, SUV, and luxury. So we'll go back and add those images. So let's start from the Snedan. Any question? Are we together?
Yes, yeah,
Hello?
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Please don't mind me. The the face light that is supposed to make my face very bright is just went off. I just noticed that, but we must continue the class. So what matters is that you're seeing what I'm doing and you're understanding what I'm doing, not looking at my face. If you look at my face, you see that it's very dark. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, I said, let's add the images. All this while we have been working, I've told you guys how to create image, but I don't like calling image. Okay, we can leave it as images. So let's now add the images to them for Smithers. It has S, Smithers. What's the first thing? The image source. We say images / icon Smithers dot svg. We can add an alternate in case the image refuses to show. You know, that's what the alternate attribute is for. So we say Smithers icon. So let's go back and check. So the icon is now showing. So we do the same thing for the others. So I'm going to the image of the other one. I say source, images, slash, this one is SUVs. SUVs. Okay. SUVs icon. Alternate. SUV icon. Okay. And the last but not the least is to add the source, the images slash logs alternate. Log3 icon. Okay, so we have this. Then the next thing is for us to now add our CSS. Maybe in this case, there was nothing in the footer, but we can just add something in the footer. Maybe let's say copyright. But let's leave it for now. We'll come back to the footer. So this is what we have achieved so far. So we have our header, we have the name. The name has 3 divs, icon, and inside of the 3 divs, we have icon, header, paragraph, button, icon, header, paragraph, button, icon, header, paragraph, button. So let's go back and add the CSS. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to come up here and create a CSS folder. So we say CSS. Inside the CSS folder, we say styles. We say, maybe let's call it flex underscore style .css. So we also have another one, grid underscore styles .css. So that's what we have. But remember, what we are working on now is on the flex. So I'm going to close this one on the flex. So I'll go to flex and then we'll continue the work. Okay, but before that, you know, we need to link. So I'm going up back to the head and I'll type link. Remember, we did this yesterday. We add what? Style sheet. Style sheets, href, called it flex, no, css slash flex style sheet or flex cascading style. There's something we forgot to add, which can be added anywhere, but I just want to put it at the top here and call it our title. So we say flex or CSS flex. That should be the title of the page. So if we come back now, we'll see that this index will change to CSS flex, just like we have here, CSS flex. So we are getting there. The next thing is to start adding the CSS. Okay. So the first thing we are going to do is to use the universal selector to get some things done. One of the first things we are going to do, and I encourage you to do if you are coding, is to set all margin 0, all padding 0. And last but not the least, box sizing for that box. And the next thing is to style the body. The body, we have a background color of white or anything we choose. Let's use FOFFF, which is that a jaw. FOFFF. Yes. So this is the background color we want to use. We can say everything inside here, even though this one I'm doing is not the best practice, but let's just add something and say 18 pixel. Font size 18 pixel. And the font family we want to work with. Sorry, font family. We want to work with Franklin, Gothic Media, Area Narrow. Okay, so let's take the second one. Then again, font weight 500 or any value that you want to show. Then for us to be able to style, to continue the styling, let's see what we have done so far. For us to be able to continue the styling, we have to add either a class. We have to add either a class or an ID. So let's go and check what will be best for what we are doing. If I want to, okay, I think we should style the navigation first. So let's look at how we are going to style the navigation. So after the body, let's look at how we're going to style the navigation before coming back to the other one. So we can pick the element. We have the header, using the header as a selector. We have a background that is black. You can see it from here. The background is black. So we can also use that background color. So background color has let's see what this is black as FFFFF. No, last F. This is okay. Just use something that's relating to black. Okay, so then we can add overflow. Then we can add margin as auto. Then we can add width. I'll try to explain why we are adding some of these things. So this is what we have done so far. Let's look at what it has achieved for us. It has moved this thing, the header, to the middle. Now, let me go and remove some things that we have added. For instance, if I remove this margin auto, you see that if you go back, so one simple way of centering your div is to add margin auto to it. So with that margin auto, see what we have achieved. Now let's continue to add something to the header. There are links in the header. So we say header that has a direct child. You know, if we say a direct child, it will not work. If we say direct child, it will not work because there is nav in it. So we can either say header nav, the descendant, one of the descendants of header is nav. Another descendant is A. So we can either move through this route to style the links, or we just ignore the nav altogether and go ahead and style the links. So we say float. They are already in the left. So I'm going to leave this one. I don't think there's a need for that, but if there's a need to do that. Color. We can use the same color. Text align. Center. Padding. Let's take 14 and 16. Padding can come in different forms. So you can either use the shorthand or the of doing 4 or doing 2 or doing 3. So we have for bottom and right. We have for left and right. We have for bottom and top. So that is what we have achieved. So the next thing is to add the text decoration that we did yesterday. Text decoration will help us remove the underline on the links. So this is what we have so far. Want to remove this underline using text decoration, we say no. Then the next thing is the font size. You can increase the font size, can increase it to maybe 17 pixels. So let's see what we have achieved so far. Let's see what we have here, what we have achieved. So let's go ahead and continue. Okay, saying that that page is not there yet. Then the last thing we're going to add for the header for now is header A on hover. We have background color. If it hovers, to change the background color, maybe let's use this and change the text color to black. Okay. So we have been able to achieve that. So, but for us to do something on the main, there are many ways to achieve it. We can achieve that if we either add class or any other thing. So for the main, let's add a class to it. Class flex. Can give it any name, but let's just call it container. This class flex container. And then the div can also be given a class because all of them are the same. So there's no point giving them different classes. But when it comes to the images and any other thing, we can give them maybe 1 or 2 different classes. So we say flex item. Then we can add 2 classes because we're going to use this one for something different. So let's call it column 1. Maybe when we want to give it column. Maybe when we want to give it color. Okay. So we do the same thing for the remaining ones. So I'll just copy this. Sorry, I'll copy the whole of this. Paste it here. I'll call it 2. I'll do the same thing for this one. I'll call it 3. So they have the same class, flex item, but they have their own different classes that we can use to do any other thing that we want to do with them. Then also, we can also style the buttons. So let's just do all of them together. Class button. Sorry. Class button is button underscore or SUV. Then we go to the rest of them and do the same. This one is, sorry, this one is E down. This one is SUV. Then the last but not the least is luxury. Now, all this we have added is to help us to be able to style them, give styles to them, and achieve that thing that we want to achieve. So let's go back to our CSS, see where we are, see where we are going, see where we are. So let's go back to our CSS and continue the work. So the next thing is here. So for you to refer to a class, use dots. So what is the first class? Sometimes I like to copy it from here if I've already named it, so that I will not make a mistake. So I'll come here, copy it, and paste it here. That's the first class we want to work on. I hope you guys are following me. Hello?
Yes,
I
sir.
hope you guys are following me.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. That's good. Thank you for the reply. So let's continue. Flex container, we can give it width. The width of the flex container should be the same width of the header. What is the width that will give the header? 60%. So that two of them will be the same. If you look at this one, they are on the same distance. So let's do the same for the flex container. So 60%. The next thing is that same margin auto, so that it will stay at the middle. The next thing we are going to do is see what we have achieved so far. Now we say 60%, all of them have come to the middle. So how do we spread them? We did that yesterday in the previous class. So we say display, we say flex. If you do that, this is what you achieve. Okay. Now, the next thing we are going to add is we do another display for in terms of different browsers. We can try to make it to be able to display very well in another browser, WebKit Flex. Then breakthrough, I'm going to remove you from this from this group because you're playing music and it's disrupting the class.
So my mic is muted. It was muted.
Huh?
My mic.
Your mic. So please. Okay, so the next thing is justify content. Align items. Center. Height. 400. I'm using different um, um, units of measurement so that you know that we have many of them. Using different units of measurement so that you know we have many of them. Okay. This is what we have achieved so far with what we have written here. So another thing we can work on is the H1. So we can just go, since they are the only one, we can just go straight and say H1. For every H1, the font family to be in parts. Let me see whether it's going to work. Font family is in parts. Font weight to be 600. See what we have. See what we have. See where we are going to. Okay. The next thing we can do is to now work on those flex items. To now work on those flex items. Flex, sorry, they are, remember they are classes. Flex item. Okay, let me follow my rule of copying so that I will not type the wrong thing. Okay. Position. Okay. Let's use position where we want to talk about buttons, padding. Yeah, I'm using another measurement here now. 2 EM. I talked about EM in our last class. Flex 1. Meaning height, minimum height. 500 pixels. So that it will be bigger than the content that is in it. Okay. Position. Relative. Okay. Let's continue. We have done for all of them. Then dot flex. Now, inside flex item, we can also talk about flex item. We also have buttons. So let's make their positions absolute. And bottom to Okay. Before we did this, see how they were. Let me remove this again. See how they were before we added that code. So to put it back and refresh, all of them will come down. Every time they should be at the bottom, they should be the last thing, and no other thing should be under them from what we have done so far. I'm going to use different kinds of color for these things. So let's go ahead and add more. So, there's a column 1 here. So let's work on this class, column 1. Column 1. Let's work on column 1 class by adding a background color. This time around, let's just play around and do RGB. 2, 4, 6, 44, 78. I will not touch opacity side. All right. So we are getting there. So the next one, dot column 2, background color. Let's do purple. Let us finish with column 3, background color. Let's do dark red. We are getting close. Okay. So the next thing is to style our images. To style our images. So we have the image tag. Let's give it a width of 50 pixels and a margin bottom. So there's the distance between here and here. We don't want to achieve. These ones are too close. So let's achieve that distance with margin bottom of, say, maybe 25 or 30 pixels. Okay. Then the next thing we can do as we are moving on is to add button. Is to style the button. So let's add border to the button and say the button should not have any border. Border arrow. Then text align central. Then text decoration. There's no need for text decoration, but whatever decoration that is there, we want to remove it, but it's not compulsory. That's why I said there's no need. And we can add font size, our own different font size. It is 16 pixel. Then padding of 14 by 40. Border, want to make it round, border radius of 30 pixel. And we can add cursor. Pointer. So this is what the cursor does. Okay. So let's go back. Everything will fall in line. Let's just take it one after the other. All the error that we may have detected will correct them. 40 in that. Let's see. What did you call it? Let's see that. Color. RGB. Button SUV. So we are just doing the same thing that we did for. Let's do the same thing that we did for their main this thing. So this one will be purple. Or SUV of 3. Okay. Okay. So this is supposed to give us what we're looking for. But we're discovering that there's a problem. Each of them is not up to this place. So let me check what could be the issue. Okay, see, we may have a problem here. It's supposed to be 60%, not 60%. 60%. Okay, so we have our stuff here. The header is not showing how I want it to show. Before we move to grid, let's see why the header is not showing properly. Let's see why our header is not showing properly. Header. Okay. Color, text align, padding. Let me try something. Okay. Okay. So we have the same thing now. Any questions so far before we move to grid? So you can see that depending on your proper planning, we just replicated this page here now. There's not much difference between the two of them, this and this. That's the same thing. Okay. So the next thing is the remaining part of the class, we'll use it to do the grid aspect. Any questions so far? Do we have any questions so far?
Sir, could you please just show your CSS code a little bit?
Huh?
Could you please show your CSS code? Maybe just scroll through it from the beginning. I think I had an error.
Okay, okay, want me to go through the CSS code again, see how we started. And then we work on body. Then we work on the header. And then we work on the links in the header without really using the nav, just for it to straighten the links for us. Then we did an hover and we started working on the main. We named the main with a class flex container. And then we gave it a width of 60 margin auto, which we have to centralize it. And we gave it a height of 400 VH, which means it should cover the screen, the height of the screen. It should not stay there without going beyond it. We don't want to start scrolling down in this particular
So what
design.
is the use of WebKit Flex?
Okay, sometimes when you design for other browsers and you envisage situation, only this will work. What if you get to a browser that is maybe does not support the current level of CSS, and then there are other things that it's just to make, in fact, the summary of it is just to make sure that whatever browser you find yourself, this particular CSS code, the display that you want, will work properly. So if the driver, the browser will not accept this, this will force it to accept the flex display. So that all you need to do is that as you're seeing your design, is how another person that is viewing it from another browser from anywhere in the world will be able to see it too. Okay, then we said all the items should be at the center. And then we went to style our H1, went to style our flex item again. giving them each of them padding, flex 1, and so this is simply our CSS code. Okay, so for us to do the second part, which we have already specified here, we gave it a name. I will call the name grid. Oh, please let's correct it. It's supposed to be grid.html. So I will just copy it and come here to create a file, call it grid.html. So grid is a different type of layout system from Flex. All that we did was to use Flex. And you can do many other things. There are some I did in our previous class that we didn't even use in this particular sample, in this particular example. So let's now do for the grid. For the sake of ease and so that the class will not be too long, I'll go and copy what we have done for. Okay, let's lay the background first before we start copying. Doc type, HTML, lang, English. If you don't specify, it means it is English. So now that we have done that, let's do the head. So that if I'm copying, I'll just copy and paste in the head. Then let's do body. Because majority of whatever we're going to work with are the same. So I'll just go to here and copy what is here and make a few changes. So copy, I'll go here, open it up and paste. Now, these are the changes I'm going to make. First, the title. So I'll say CSS grid. And the second one, I'm going to point it to the grid styles. CSS. That's the only thing I'm going to get from there. Because we are not adding too much content in this one, it's just for us to see styling. We are going to now give them maybe different names or whatever we want to give to them. So this second part is just to show you how you can style with grid. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put a div, a general div that is going to cover everything. So we are seeing that we have, in this case now, we are giving all of them a general div. So there's a div that's going to cover everybody. After that div covering everybody, we'll have one, we'll now have how many other divs? We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see the power of grid. Grid is so amazing. Grid is so amazing. Grid is so amazing. So then this is the general one. And so we're going to have, how many did I say we're going to have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to have 6 of them. So we have div. Let me just copy. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let us say A, B, okay. This A, B, C, D, E, F. So because we don't have much content, E, F, G, H. Okay. we don't have much content to put in them. So we have created all the divs. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to link it. So I'm still going to copy the link that is here with nav, and so that we can use it. And we're going to use it on the first one. So I'll remove that A that is there and paste our nav. Please, when you are pasting, be very careful. Very careful. So we have the same thing that we are having in the other place. So let's see what we have achieved so far. If we come here, I'll click on this. Let's refresh this page. Okay, so we have flex and grid. Flex and grid. So we have A, C, D, E, F, which are remaining. Now let's continue our work. To continue this work, we need to start giving each of them classes. This time around, if I give a class, we'll go and add the CSS to that class. We'll come back and give another class. So let's give a class. Give it a class. If the other one was flex container, so we can give this one grid container. Can give this one grid container. And we can call this one, maybe let us give all of them classes. Class item A. Depending on what you want to give them. So class item B. So we just continue like that. Class item C. Class item D. Class item E. Oh, we forgot E, Abi. E. Then this should be F. Class item F. We'll come back and do one or two things, but let's stop here and move over to the grid CSS and see what we can achieve here. As usual, we are going to take from here so that some of the things we have typed will not start all over again, doing them one after the other. So I'm going to take the whole of this inside the grid. And then we are now going to style the body. Background, color, use a draw. Display. Now, the other one was display. Where we use display flex was in the text itself, in the main div. But here now, I'm using the display flex on the body. Then align items, center. In fact, as we are doing it, let's see what each of these things is doing to our work. Now, this is what we have achieved. What if we don't have this? We have align items, center. Then we have minimum height of 100 mm. Let's stop there for the body. This is what we have done so far. So let's now style the first one, which is the grid container, a class that is the grid container. Display grid. Grid template area. So this is how we're going to go about it. Header, 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 header. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why are we putting 5? Because we want to try to divide our page. Now, if we are checking this page, how many columns can it be? How many columns can it be for us? How many columns can it be for us to be able to use it? We discover that if you check this, you can divide it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why we have 5 there. So this is how grid. This is one of the ways that grid works. So we have 5. Then the next thing is to come down and you start doing the other one also. But we can't do the other one because we have not given it a name. We have not given it a name. So which means we are going to go back and start giving them different names. So we'll give this one a different name. 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 And these last two can be the same name, or we'll give them also different name. So I've seen that this and this are the same. Why this and this? So this side will take 3, this side will take 2, this side will take 2, this side will take 3. So let's go and do that right away. So we are coming back to the grid. Before we can continue here, we are coming back. These items, we need to be given something different. So that's what we are going to do now. Okay. Item B, let's call it main top. Item C, let's call it main top. And bottom. Okay. So we can go back and continue the grid. So we have main one, main one, main one, main two, main two. This is what we have so far. Let's continue. Main, oh sorry, main three, we add gap. Don't worry, every confusion that you may have, we'll explain it as we go ahead. Then we have a margin of auto. This is what we have as of now. But the next thing is to style our items first. Dot item, dot, dot item A, background, color. Let's use 333. Grid, grid area. So some of you that will be asking what is main one, what is main two? This is where you are going to see where we specify them. Grid area. Main one. What are we saying? That this item A, which is this one, item A should be regarded as the main one. And with that, we should have this. Second one, let's work on item, but I will just copy this and be changing item B. Color, what color do we have here? Item B is red. Sorry, item A. Item A should be header, sorry. But we have header. So item A should be header. No wonder it was displaying item A should be header. That is it. Then item A should be header. We can add something overflow hidden. Okay. So item B is red from the design that we are following. And it's in that item B that we're calling main one. Item C item A. Let's check where our item A is. Okay. Okay. Main one. So let's now do for the other items. Item C. Item C is on our design is yellow. Yellow, green, and maybe light blue also. Yellow. I will call it main 2. So if we go back, main 1, then main 2 and main 2. Item A, B, C, D. Item D, from the color of our sample is green, and it is main 3. Item E, item E is, we gave it with the other one the same color, light blue 4. Item F, light blue 5. Okay. Okay. Now it seems as if we have lost everything that we'll be doing. So let's add display flex to the body. Okay. Something is not right. Let me look at it from the scratch. Grid. Okay. Let's check again. Oh, so it's just that simple stuff that caused all this problem. Let me see if I remove Let's I guess. So I hope people noticed how I solved that problem. Hello?
No, sir, I did not get it. So
Huh?
I didn't get
I
what you
didn't get.
changed.
Okay, this look at my screen. This apostrophe was not here. So if I remove it, it will take us, it will lose everything because I didn't follow the rules for creating a grid. So, but I've added it back. And if I check, you can see that everything is not arranged. What is remaining for it to function properly is other kinds of styling that we're going to do. But if you look at it very well, we have gotten the shape that we're looking for. Is that okay? Don't worry, the grid might sound a bit confusing, but we'll explain it. So let's finish, and like we did in the other one, we'll start explaining it one after the other. So let's add more things to make it look exactly like that one. So let's first of all work on our nav with a direct child or a descendant of A, whichever one you want to use. Then close to left, add a color. Like the F2, F2, F2. And add the text align, center, padding. We are trying to make it look like the other one. So 14 pixel. So there's no more change from what we have typed before. 16 pixel. Text decoration. No. Font size. 17 pixels. Now added the hover. Okay. The next thing, let's add the hover effect. And just copy it from here. I've done the hover effect. Where is it in the header? Hover effect. For this time around, not going to be the header. So say nav hover. Oh, okay, hover at this point. We can do a new design. So let's check. I don't like this thing is not showing properly. So let me change it to black. Yeah, I think black is better. Yes. So it's looking exactly like this one. Oh, this is pink. No, I don't like pink. Over black. Over black. Why is it showing me black? Flex black. It's okay. Now we can keep working on the other ones until we achieve. So where does all those things we added the other time come in? Main top, main bottom, main bottom. We can use these things to add height to them in grid. Say minimal height. The essence of this minimum, if you have content in it, you don't need to put this minimum height. It's because we don't have something in that place and want it to be big enough so that we see the effect of what we are doing. That's why we are adding minimum height to them. So we have our page that looks exactly like this one. You can see that you are not seeing any change in between the two of them. So let's run through the code that we did again. When you want to work with grid, all right, is there any question? No, as usual. So let's let's look at grid again and explain it properly, and then we end the class for today. So when you want to work with grid, remember what we did was to create these divs. We got a container and we got that. If explaining it from bottom up will give you a better idea, good and fine. Now, if you want to do grid, the first thing you have to do is to arrange it how you want it to be. But this place might seem a bit confusing. How did we achieve this? We achieved this because we, first of all, converted all these items, item A, item B, item C, item D, item E, item F, to grid areas. How did we do that? We said we gave them color. This color is not, it doesn't matter much as this thing that we did. We said a grid area 1 is item A should be called grid area header. Item B should be called grid area main 1. Item C should be called grid area main 2. Item D should be called grid area main 3. Item E should be called grid area main 4. Item F should be called grid area main 5. Now, how do we position them? In grid, it is expecting you that you divide the page into some number of columns. So depending on the number of columns that you want to have, if I want to have 6 columns, all I need to do is to add another header here. This is trying to say this page is divided into 4 rows. This is the row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. The row 1 cover it all with header. Row 2 cover a greater percentage of it, which is what you can call maybe 70% of it, with main 1. What is my main 1? Main 1 is item B. And then cover the remaining parts with main 2. If you come down to row 3, cover the first part, the smaller part, or 2 of the rows, 2 of the columns with main 3. Then cover the remaining part with main 4. Do the same thing, continue with main 3 in row 4, but end it with main 5. And then you can decide to give gap in between them. If I don't want to give gap, all I need to do is to comment this gap off. And then you see the effect of not giving gap. So depending on what you want to do, each of the things we typed here means something. Padding is the distance between the content and what is inside. And then we say the entire width of this thing should be 60%. So 60%, so that it can be the same with our own here, our main here, our flex container here, which is 60. Then margin auto centralizes it. So this is basically what we did. Look at it from the beginning. We said margin for everything should be 0, padding for everything should be 0, borders, box sizing, border box. Then we gave it a color. We gave the background a color. We gave it align items. We gave it minimum height. And then we started working on our grid. So if this part is confusing you, you can decide to do this part first. But if you are now able to set the grid areas, the next thing to do is now divide your page inside into different areas. Let me draw something and use it to explain it. This is how the page is. This is how grid looks like. That's the minute. So this is how grid looks like. I don't know if you guys have seen it. This is how grid looks like. This is how grid looks like. I think it's very faint. Abi, can you guys see it?
Not
It's
really,
not
sir.
showing clearly.
Huh?
Okay, I've seen it.
It's
sir.
not
No,
showing
sir, we can't
clearly.
see it.
Okay. But okay, let's draw grid on the system. Let's draw grid on the system. Let me use it to explain it further. Grid. You know, so grid is like a table. Grid is like a table. So I'm going to draw a grid of this 5 by 4. I'm going to draw inside the table of 5 by 4. Table, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 by 4. Okay, so this is 5 by 4. I need to increase it. So if you are using grid, you need to envision your page to look like something like this. And then you are saying, this place, put a header for me. Header. Okay. Header. Here you say put main 1. And then put main 2. And when you come here, you say put main 3. Put also main 3 here. But put main 4 here. Put main 4 here. Y here will be main 5. So is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
So this is what this table you're seeing. This can also be likened to a grid system. So if you look at it, it's not different from flex. It's just in the area of implementation. How do you implement it? It's name, if you are using, there are many ways to implement grid, but if you are using grid area, name all your these things and give them names. Then divide your page into how many rows and columns you want it to be based on the things you want to be inside. So now we are saying the whole of this table, the whole of here should be the header. Let me now color it so that we'll see. Should be the header. How do you color table? Not working. Okay. So the whole of this should have one color. From here to here should have one color. From here to here should have another color. These places should have one color or should be the same. Here should be different. Here should be different. This same thing you can also achieve with flex. Then we decided to give that. Any question? Okay.
No, sir.
Chris, you are raising your hand.
Yes, sir. Like, so
Yes.
all those, like in that table, you are just specifying the amount of
Can you
space
be
that
loud
particular
enough?
one. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I say in that table, so you are mainly specifying the spaces it will take, like that particular place we take, right? Like main 5 we take that particular part. Like you are just dividing it the way it should appear in the page.
Yes, if I get you right, you are saying mainly or merely specifying the spacing it will take at a particular place to make it. So if for instance now, I don't know if I'm getting you right, but if for instance now I want a page to this based on, it is no longer because I want this header to cover this place. It is no longer because of the header, because of the many things I want to add here. Let's assume I have more divs, and I want another div to contain this place, maybe may 6 to have. So depending on what you want to put inside, we determine the things that you're going to add. So you can say the whole of this other side will still be image 6. Somebody may ask, what if there's something you want the header, we want the header to share something. You can say, okay, I want the header to share something, and the name of that I gave that area is top 1. So because of what I want to add. So are you seeing that the shape will change because there are more things I want to put in the page and I just need to add them. So if you understand grid, you can see that it's also very sweet to work with. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, I understand it now. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. If there's no other question, we call it a day. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. No, we overshoot our time today. I hope that tomorrow will not be like that. Okay. See you guys
Yeah,
tomorrow.
thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.